I think we'll go ahead and get started. Sorry for the delay, had some audio issues here. So I'm on the headset as usual. But anyway, as Shelley said, welcome to the first Main Street Monday of 2023. We're excited about these Main Street Mondays and what we're going to offer this year. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I want to first let the other two Main Street staff people introduce themselves in case you don't know them, because there are some unfamiliar names and faces here. So, Shelley.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. I'm Shelley Pash, Kansas Main Street business specialist. And all of these names I recognize. It's kind of cool to be able to see them because I know some of you are affiliates. Some of you are designated Main Street communities. It's great to see you. So yeah, we look forward to, should be a fairly quick and succinct call this morning just to go over some of the calendar stuff. So I know everybody always likes to get that at the beginning of the year. So we're super stoked to be able to provide that. Thanks. Robert.
Hi, I'm Robert McLaughlin. I am the Kansas Main Street Design Specialist and happy to be on the call today. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, those of you who've been on these calls before know these are pretty laid back, somewhat informal, just a chance to, last year what we did was gave communities a chance to talk about what kind of projects and activities they're working on. We're going to do that again this year, but we've also added and mixed in some other things. So let's just dive right in with the 2023 training calendar, and let me try and share my screen here. This will be fun as usual. All right, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you, Coral. And we may, let's see. We may just leave it at that. With the, there we go. All right, so the 2023 calendar, for those of you who might not be familiar, we have our quarterly training sessions, and those are open to designated communities and affiliate communities. Designated communities, you can send as many people to those training sessions as you want. In fact, we encourage that. And we expect that somebody from the community is at the training. It doesn't always have to be the director. So if there are issues with the director showing up, feel free to invite somebody else from the organization that might find that training relevant or be able to represent the community and kind of take back the information that you gathered. And then affiliate communities can send up to 4 people. And so each of those training sessions will have registrations. And so we'll have an idea of how many people will be coming, and we can plan accordingly. So that's how the quarterly trainings work. Main Street Mondays and the virtual trainings are open to anyone. So if we send out a link to something like the virtual trainings or today's Main Street Monday, those are the second Monday of each month at 10 a.m. Feel free to share that link with anybody, and the more the merrier. We'd like to have as many people on these calls as possible. So, but the quarterly trainings, we have May 3rd and 4th. We'll be doing design and independence, and we're going to get more into these here in a second, but July 25th and 26th is economic vitality in Newton. September 7th and 8th is organization and retail development in Salina. And October 16th and 18th is promotions in Dodge City. So we've all kind of worked on putting this calendar together. So we're going to talk about some of these, just kind of give an elevator speech of each of these trainings here in a little bit. But I wanted to mention a couple of things about these. And one is the May training in Independence. We're excited to be partnering with the SHPO office, and the Kansas Preservation Conference is that same time in Independence. So we're going to be kind of piggybacking with their conference and offering the quarterly training at that time. We're really excited about that opportunity. The preservation, the SHPO folks haven't had a conference, I don't believe, since before COVID, at least an in-person conference. So we're really excited to be creating that connection with their conference and kind of strengthening the relationship we have with them. So we're excited about that. And then lastly, the October training in Dodge City with promotions. Some of you who were at the training last summer in Dodge City might be thinking, wait a second, why are we going back to Dodge City? We're connecting with the tourism conference this year. And so that training will be tied in with the tourism conference, and that's where the location is this year. So both the SHPO conference and the tourism conference, we hope to continue to connect our training with those conferences each year. Some of you may remember last fall, we had our training in Emporia, and I think it was literally the next week that the tourism conference was in Wichita. And I know some of you went to both of those. So what we're trying to do is not only build the relationships we have with those other organizations and work more closely with them, but minimize the travel and the expenses that you'll have to go to these things. So, and then for those of you who didn't go to the tourism conference or haven't in the past, the training will be somewhat separate. So you can just come to the training, but the idea is that if you're coming to our training, you'll stay for part of the tourism conference. And same way with the SHPO conference in May, that, you know, when you come to our training, you'll stay for the preservation conference as well. So any questions about that before we move on to a little bit more detail about those? Well, hearing nothing, then Robert, do you want to talk a little bit about the design training and what we're doing in Independence in May?
Sorry, had to unmute there. Sure, happy to talk about that. We're excited because Main Street, Kansas is bringing in the opening plenary speaker for that event. Just a slight correction here. It's actually May 4th and 5th, which is a Thursday and Thursday and a Friday. So the dates are the May 4th and May 5th. The opening plenary speaker will be on Thursday, and that's Lisa Thompson, who is our one of our national training people. She specializes in design and preservation, and she's also going to talk to us a little bit about placemaking. The entire conference will be attending that, hopefully. And then after that, she is also going to do a smaller breakout session that will be a specific topic for Main Street people. And then the plan for the conference, as it's still taking shape, but there's going to be sort of two tracks. There'll be a track that is for more advanced people in preservation. That might be like preservation consultants and just people who have a lot of experience. And then there'll be a track that's more oriented to our Main Street folks and a little more entry-level introduction into preservation. So it'll be 2 days. I don't think they have their keynote speaker lined up yet, but as I mentioned, we're pretty excited to bring Lisa in, and I've seen her do presentations a number of times. She's a really great speaker, has an incredible background in Main Street preservation, design. She's going to be a really great speaker for us. So that's kind of the plan for May.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Independence also, where we're going. I know Tabitha has been working with Katrina at Chippo a little bit already. So thank you for that, Tabitha.
And one of the things to note about the two trainings that are connected with SHPO and tourism, any costs that are associated with attending that SHPO conference or the tourism conference, we will cover those from our perspective. The state program will cover that. So there, there's no cost, as always, for designated and affiliates to attend the quarterly trainings. And if there are any costs, we'll make sure and work that out. So we'll be picking those costs up. If you remember the training we had in Independence right before COVID hit with John Schallert, that was put on and really coordinated by the Fab Lab in Independence and Jim Carell. And basically we set up a separate registration for Main Street folks. So when you register, we'll just know that you don't pay, that we'll cover those costs. So hopefully that helps answer any questions about that. And with some of these dates, we haven't, we've confirmed all the speakers. These dates are pretty much set. The May 3rd and 4th, we may have like a director's meeting the night before. So for example, if the conference starts on the morning of the 4th, we may have the directors meeting that evening and have a dinner or a social event of some type. So there may be,
Thanks.
a night before when you're coming in anyway for the meetings the next morning. So, all right, Shelley.
Well, Coral has a question, and just don't forget too that it's May 4th and 5th is what Robert had said too,
Right.
with the dates.
Yeah.
But if they come for the other.
Yep. And we will email out this calendar later today.
On the preservation conference, what are the dates for that?
The actual dates of the conference.
Robert, you're on mute.
The actual dates of the conference are the 4th and the 5th. And then what Scott was saying is we may meet the evening of the 3rd.
No, I get that. But we said that we're tagging onto like SHPO, right? So when are
Yes.
SHPO dates? Are
It
they
is-
the same time?
It's the 4th and the 5th.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one. This is, hi, everybody, Leslie. It's
Hi,
Lina.
Leslie.
Can someone, I'm sorry for those that already know, but what's SHPO?
SHPO is the State Historic Preservation Office. It would also be Kansas State Historical Society is their name in Kansas, but SHPO's just an acronym for State Historic Preservation Office.
And we're lucky to have stolen Robert from there.
And then one last question. On the last day of the training in Independence on the 5th, what time do you expect that? We have an event that evening, so we would need to be back, but so if we had to leave early, we could, but is it gonna be over just late that day, or will we have to sneak out?
I'm looking at the time schedule right now, and the last thing is rapid fire 3:15 to 4:15, and then there's an awards ceremony, which you don't have, there's no need to go to unless somebody in your community was getting an award. I would recommend staying for that and the reception. But I think you could leave early on the Friday.
Yeah, we would need to. Okay, thank you. That's all.
It's just like that is going to happen.
Just FYI, the keynote speaker is Friday from 12 to 1. I would think you would want to be there.
Yeah, we can
For
be there.
that.
Yeah, we would probably need to leave after that. Our event starts at 6 that
Okay.
night. All right, thank you.
Perfect.
Great questions. All right, Shelley.
Hello. Hi, everybody. So for the economic vitality training, we did a lot of back and forth, and I know I thank you because I know there are several of you that are actually on this call. that helped that inner circle to figure out what this was going to look like. And we are doing asset strategies for thriving downtowns. It'll be in Newton at the Meridian Center, and I know I've connected with them over there. We're looking at the 25th mainly being an equity focus through minority entrepreneurship. And when we talk asset strategies, we're not just talking capital, but that is a portion of it. So we've got social and culture, financial through the partnerships, is the story that we wanted to hear from some of our speakers. And I know we spoke with some of the people over at the Hispanics of Today and Tomorrow, and we had an opportunity to see them in Emporia for Rural Rise. So that was kind of nice. We have the Heartland Black Chamber of Commerce, and then Kira Cherie and Danetta Watson are going to speak about entrepreneur business basics and the Black Mastermind Group, but also speaking with the Kansas African American Affairs Commission. And we'd reached out to the Kansas Hispanic and Latino American Affairs Commission. And we just want the full day convening to be specifically on the storytelling and the approaches to centering and investing to build social capital and the cohesion in the community. So day 2, we're looking at having the Kansas Association of Community Foundations, and we'll have some storytelling through some of the people from Aubrey Patterson and Hutchinson and Marcia Pope in Topeka. They have two totally different ways of how they're working on things. So the asset strategies will be pretty plentiful. And then, I mean, it'll be a typical, you know, the first day will probably be 10 to 4 or 5 or something like that. And we'll figure out with Rebecca what cool things we're going to do in her community. And then the second day, we should be done about noon or 1, no later than that. Questions? But yes, thank you so much for those of you that helped participate in this and helped steer me a little bit more through it. So appreciate that very, very much.
And Shelley, those dates are July 25th and 26th.
Correct. Which I think is
Awesome.
a Tuesday, Wednesday. Thanks.
Thank you, Shelley. Great job. Okay, September 7th and 8th, we will be in Salina. And this is sort of organization and heavy economic vitality again. But we're excited that Mark Miller is a staff person with the Arkansas Main Street program. Mark is a guy that I've known for a long time, but I had a really good conversation with him in Richmond last year at the national conference. We both participated. I don't know if you recall, there was a Dr. Downtown booth where there were usually 2 or 3 seasoned professionals just basically in this booth. And if you could just come ask questions and talk about issues. And Mark and I were in that booth at the same time. He's got a ton of experience as not only a business owner, but he's also been with the Arkansas Main Street program for, I think, close to 30 years. So he's going to be coming in and talking about the viability of businesses in the changing market. There'll be some opportunities for him to work with some specific businesses in Salina, but we're excited to have Mark come in for that training. And then the promotion training in Dodge City will feature Brian Ostrowski from Locable. I'm not sure if any of you saw his session in Richmond last year. He does marketing 123 or 135 or something a little different like that. But we've been talking to Brian for literally since the state program came back. And it's just been trying to figure out how we can plug him in. So he'll be coming in and doing training in Dodge City. He will also have the opportunity, just so you can start thinking about this, to work with any of your communities leading up to or after that training. So I can get you more information about what Brian can do to help your community specifically. But typically when he comes in and does training like that, he likes to add on some other community trainings and community visits when he's in the state. So if you think, we'll send out more information about his training and what he can do. And if you think you're interested in that, definitely let me know and we'll get you connected with Brian. So any questions about the quarterly trainings?
Kylie here. Are all quarterly are attending all quarterly trainings mandatory, or does someone from your community have to attend, or how does that all work?
Yeah, for designated communities, it is mandatory that somebody from the community attend. So again, if you can't attend as a director, hopefully somebody else is interested in design or promotion or whatever the topic of that quarterly training is, and you can have somebody else from the community come as well. And if you have issues with, not being able to make it and you just can't get anybody from the community there, or if you have an event on those days, reach out to me directly and let me know that, and we'll definitely take that into account.
Okay, thank you.
Sure thing. All right. Any other questions? Now that I've hit the dial on my mouse, let's go ahead and hit it for real this time and go to the Main Street Mondays. So if you're signed up and you're on this call, you're signed up for all the Main Street Mondays throughout the rest of the year. So these should all be on your calendar. But next month we will feature Great Bend. Then as you can see here, I won't go through each one of these, but as you can see, we have some communities featured in the Main Street Mondays, and then we have some of the 4 points that we'll address and do some of our trainings. And I'll kind of go out on a limb and put myself out there. The March training for organization, I'm actually presenting at the national conference. I'm doing a workshop on how to deal with the media. So that March training is probably going to be kind of a preview of that workshop or a summary of that workshop. And so when we do design in May, Robert may do, the presentation or have something lined up to focus on that. Same with economic vitality in July. So what we've tried to do with the Main Street Mondays is mix up the community presentations like we've had in the past and give you a little more, informal opportunities for learning something new or different that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise known about. So any questions about the Main Street Mondays? All right. And then we're adding some virtual trainings this year. Again, we're trying to just get more opportunities for you to learn new and different things. We've got 2 of the 4 virtual trainings scheduled. One is Marketing Your Downtown. That's going to be with Brian, who's going to do the training in October, but it's going to be a little bit different. And this will be an opportunity if you think you might be interested in having Brian come to your community. This might be an opportunity to find out what he can do and start thinking about if you want him to come visit you. In April, we've got a training scheduled with the folks from Pride. They're going to spend some time talking about their program and explaining what they do. And then the June and August virtual trainings are still pending confirmation of the speakers. So these are basically just like quarterly trainings, except they're going to be just virtual sessions. They're going to be an hour, maybe 90 minutes, but somewhat like a cross between the Main Street Mondays and quarterly training. So any questions about that?
Scott, do you have a time yet for February 23rd and April 18th when those would start?
Those are probably going to be at 10 in the morning like this. They'll
Thank you.
either be, and then the other 2 will either be mid-morning or mid-afternoon. So, and typically we'll try and schedule those in the middle of the week sometime, but
Thank you.
sure thing. Any other questions? All right. And then most of you have this already, but if you don't, there's our contact information again. And you know how to get hold of us. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and see if there are any more questions about training, Main Street Mondays, virtual training. Questions, thoughts? Yep.
Do you know approximately how long the virtual training sessions will last?
Probably most of them will be an hour. They're not going to be like a full day by any means. So
Okay.
they could be 45, 50 minutes, could go hour and 15 minutes, but generally, if you plan on an hour, that would be safe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but we don't want to take up all your day in a virtual training. We've had enough of that in the last 3 years, right? But the cool thing about it is we all know how to do it well, as long as our audio works, right? And so it's a great opportunity to add more than just the in-person quarterly trainings. So any other questions, comments?
Scott, I came in late. Would you be able to send me the recording at the end?
I'll do that. Yep. We'll get
Thank
it.
you.
We'll get it sent to everybody. And then we will also send out the schedule that we've just reviewed. Any other questions? I want to mention a couple of things that are specifically for designated communities. We've talked about the memorandums of agreements, the MOAs. Those are actually coming from our legal team. I thought I was going to be able to send those out in December, but our legal team wants to send those out. So they should be coming out hopefully this week. But they'll be coming via DocuSign. So you might be on the lookout for those. And I will give you a heads up email when they come out. And then we'll have some other things to talk about for designated communities as far as design requests and business assistance requests. Nothing dramatic. Still, if you have a request, just give us a call. But we're going to have an online process so you can just make that request online, and it will help us kind of keep track of what those requests are and what's coming in. But we'll talk about that here in the next couple of weeks. We'll have a separate session about that. Any questions, comments?
Hi, Scott. This is Dwayne Bright.
Hi, Dwayne.
And hi, myself and Randy Greaves. We're here with the unified government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas. And we were interested in the process of the UG becoming a designated community.
Okay.
The process. And so we noticed that the application process is open until I believe it's the 3rd of February.
Right.
And just wondering about the next steps that we should be taking.
I will. That's a great question, Dwayne. I'll give you a call and we'll talk about that separate.
Okay.
And we'll
perfect.
kind of go through that process.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Shelley, Robert, do you guys have anything to add?
No question here. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Damian. I represent the Seward County Development Corporation. I'm the new director of business. So I'll be working closely with Main Street, Kansas going forward. So
Awesome. I'm glad you're on the call, Damian.
Welcome.
thank you.
I'd also like to introduce myself. I'm Debbie Deere, and I am the new executive director of the Leavenworth Main Street program, replacing Wendy that had been here for 16 years. So
Yes.
big shoes to fill. Scott was able to come visit with me a few weeks ago, which was very helpful, and just getting settled in and really anxious to work with all of you.
Awesome. Welcome aboard, Debbie and Damian and Dwayne. We're glad you guys are here. Everybody else is here. I see Randy. I think I've called and left a message. Randy and I have been playing phone tag. So we'll get connected with Dwayne and Randy and help answer your questions. Anything else? Coral?
No, I was just gonna say,
Oh.
we see all each other in person in Boston.
Yes. That's a great point. I didn't add that to the slides, but the early bird registration for the national conference in Boston goes through, I think, early February. So make sure you get registered soon. If you have extra people who want to come from your community, let me know and we'll add them to the list. And probably about a week and a half before the early bird deadline, we'll let you know if we have extras that they can get registered with. It's very likely we will.
Can you
So
add me to that distribution list if you don't mind? I think Eli Svati, the executive director, is on that, but I'm not. If you don't mind, it's just my first name, Damien at swks.org. I'll actually throw it in the chat here so you can have it.
that's awesome. We will do that, Damien. And we're probably all three copying and pasting that as we speak. So that's great. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. And like I said, if there's anybody else that you think would be interested in these calls, feel free to share the registration link with them. This is open to anybody throughout the state that wants to hear more about what we're doing and some of the training opportunities and things like that. So Shelley, Robert, are you guys good? Do you have anything to add?
Nope, nothing to add.
I have one thing, if you don't mind.
Leslie?
No, not at all, Leslie.
The last time we saw Michaela, she was a Ms. And this time she is a Mrs. So congratulations.
Whoop, whoop.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate
Yep.
it.
All right, great point, Leslie. Anything else? Going once, going twice? See, we do try and keep these short and sweet. They might not all be 30 minutes, but we appreciate your time this morning. And as always, if you have any questions, need anything, any issues that you need help with, that's what we're here to do is to try and help. So don't hesitate to give us a call, shoot us an email, or reach out. Robert, did you have something?
Nope.
Okay. All right. I think we'll wrap it up then. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you in a month, if not before.
Bye.
Take care. Thank
Bye,
you.
kids.